name is Kim, and today I am going to guide you through a yoga practice to do. Anyone could do this practice, but I specifically made it for women who are ready to give birth, who are in their third trimester or second trimester, just to build up your strength and prepare your mind and your heart for the unknown and the miracle of love that you're about to experience. The props we're going to need today are a blanket to help lift up your hips and 2 blocks. You could also have a bolster, but I don't have one right now with me. So let's get started. Take your blanket. You can sit on your knees if this is more comfortable, but I like to take my blanket, especially I have 2 babies. One is 2 and one is 4. And when I was pregnant, I really liked to sit cross-legged with my hips elevated. If this hurts your knees, you could put a blanket under one of your knees or both of your knees. So close your eyes. Put one hand on your heart and one hand on your baby. And tune into your breath. Feel what is going on for you in this moment. And don't push anything away, but also don't over-engage with the thought. So don't go on that spin of your thought process. Just feel it, be aware of it, and see what else is there. And if it's uncomfortable for you to keep your hands here, you can bring them to your thighs. I think when we're pregnant, it can be a really scary time because there's so much fear of the unknown. What helped me in the end of my pregnancy was to consciously bring in trust in my inner knowing, and consciously letting go of the fear and not replaying those fear stories and taking the fear and just driving it to the worst case possibilities. So as you inhale, imagine that you're breathing in like a golden light of trust and inner knowing. And as you exhale, imagine you're breathing out like smog or pollution, that fear. Inhaling that golden light, exhaling the pollution of fear. Bring your hands up in front of your heart. Touch your thumbs to your forehead, bow into yourself. Thank yourself for being on your mat. Thank yourself for this journey you have gone through. Give a little bow to your baby who you are practicing with. Place your hands down with your eyes open. And bring your feet together, the soles of your feet together for Baddha konasana. So my sit bones are just on the edge of this blanket. You can hold your hands on the front of your shins, or you can take your hands behind your back, kind of creating length in your spine, and press your knees out. One thing you don't want to do in this pose is push your knees down, especially with the relaxin hormone you have. You really don't want to take advantage of the flexibility your joints have right now. Right now, just trying to find length in your spine and beginning to gently open your hips. Take one hand to the right and stretch your left arm up and over. Again, not taking advantage of leaning, seeing how far you can lean, but instead pressing yourself up and getting a stretch in the left side of your ribs. These ribs that tend to collapse and shorten as we stand all day with our pregnant bellies. Do it on the other side. Seeing how much you can lift up through the right side of your body, drawing the shoulders back and your throat back. All right, take that right hand behind your back, left hand comes, let's just go to your feet. So a nice gentle twist. And then in the other direction. Of course, if you feel any pain or constriction, those are all signs to tell you not to go farther. Okay. We're going to sit off of our blanket and remove it and come into child's pose. I'm going to do this facing you, but you can do it on your mat. So widen your knees to make room for your tummy and bow forward. If you can get your forehead to the floor, that's great. If you can't, grab your block and put your forehead on your block. As your forehead's down there and you're in child's pose, imagine that the stress, the fear, the anxiety, the tension, all of that is getting drained out of your third eye into the earth. And then as you inhale, feel the support from the earth and the support from all the people around you. See if you can breathe into the back of your kidneys, the back of your lungs that tend to get collapsed on when we're pregnant. And walk your hands over to the right and lean your ribs to the left. So again, we're trying to get that stretch in the left ribs. Walk your hands to the left and lean your ribs and your body to the right. And come up into a table position on your hands and your knees. In table, you want the center of your wrist to be as wide as your outer shoulders. I often have my pinky finger just hanging off of my mat. And then you're pressing through your finger pads and your knuckle ridges. The index, pinky, outer heel, inner heel. Again, if you're relaxed and if you just collapse on your heel, your wrist will be sore. So really practice on rooting through this, especially this index one and all the fingers as you press into the mat. As you inhale, lift your chest up, your chin up, your sit bones up. And as you exhale, little contraction, pressing through your hands and stretching that upper back, that mid back. Every inhale, lengthening. You can have a gentle abdominal squeeze, really gentle, just like you're giving your baby a hug. The next time you come into your arch, your cow posture, take your left ear or your right ear to your right shoulder, and then your left ear to your left shoulder. And come back to center. We're going to move through a little flow now. So from table, we're going to exhale into our wide knee child's pose. And then inhale back into table. Tuck your toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Take your feet wider than your hips, hands wider than your shoulders, bend your knees and send your sit bones up. And instead of letting your chest drop all the way to the floor, look forward and draw your shoulders down your back and press into the earth. So that's a powerful pose. On your next inhale, come through table. Exhale, child's. Inhale, table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last one, inhale, table. Exhale, child's. And turn your palms up towards the sky. And just feel yourself being and breathing Feel your inner power, that inner knowing your body was designed for this. Let any fear or tension or anxiety melt away. Plant your palms, inhale through table, exhale downward facing dog. So if it doesn't feel right for you to do downward facing dog, you can transition through standing. So from down dog, we're going to reach our right leg up towards the sky and step our right foot forward between your hands. If it doesn't make it, step your foot forward. And again, you could just come into this from standing on your right foot, step back. I'm going to face you so you can see this. This was one of my favorite poses when I was pregnant because I wanted to twist so much, but twists aren't good for us. But you can do wide twists. So in my lunge, I'm going to take my left hand really wide with the block. I'm going to keep the top of my left hip lifting, and I'm going to turn my right shoulder backwards. So I have a lot of space between my belly and my thigh. Draw your shoulders back and your head back. You can keep your hand on your hip, reach it up, or hand behind your head and push your head back into your hand. Really rooting down through the feet and the hand that's on the floor. And again, we're lifting these ribs up. As you inhale, come on out. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, lift your left leg up. Step your left foot forward. So I'm going to show you it this way. So you come into your high runner's lunge. We're going to take our right hand and block wide and a little forward of the shoulder. The top of the right thigh is lifted. And then I'm leaning back and opening up my belly towards the sky. This is much different than a twist hooking the elbow, which you wouldn't want to do in pregnancy. As you inhale, squeeze your muscles, draw into the core of your pelvis, and exhale from your pelvis, press out through your legs, your torso, your arms. Letting this twist away again. Anything that's coming up for you that's not serving you. When I was pregnant, I had so much anxiety. So those twists were a good way to mentally and emotionally bring the anxiety away. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Spin your back heel to the floor, hands to your hips. So your back heel is down and your toes are facing to the opposite side of your yoga mat. Front knee is over the front ankle, and the hips are facing to the side, not forward. Open your arms slightly higher than your hands, slightly higher than your shoulders. Pull your shoulders down. If this is too much for intensity, you can straighten that front leg. Tune into your breath. Grip your feet into the mat and pull that energy of the earth, that stable energy that can persevere up into your body and stretch out with that freedom and joy that you're going to have when you see your little baby for the first time. As you exhale, bring your hands down to frame your foot, pivot on the ball of your back foot, and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up towards the sky. Step your left foot forward. Again, if it doesn't reach, just pull it forward. Keep turning around so you can see me. Pivot your back foot to the floor. So notice my back toes are facing the camera. They're not facing in and they're not facing out. Front knee is over the ankle. You could also do this with a very short stance. You just do the same thing. You wouldn't allow that front knee to pass the toes. Open your arms. This is Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, so feeling that warrior quality within you. Birth is one of the most powerful things we can go through. Connect to your warrior energy. As you exhale, cartwheel down your hands to frame your front foot. I'm going to pivot back so I'm ready for the next side. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Come up into your lunge, and we're going to pivot open like we're going to do warrior two, but then we're going to adjust our feet. So my feet are slightly turned out. They're not all the way turned out, slightly turned out. They're also not facing forward. And then I'm going to point my knees over the heels. This is a goddess pose. It's a really good one for opening up the hips, opening up the inner thigh muscles. We're going to do a little side stretch here. So you can have your hand on your knee pressing down as you reach your ribs up, or you can do forearm. Just going back and forth. We're working at pressing those ribs up. When I was pregnant, I took like every moment I could to grab my belly. So if you're doing your forearm on the floor, you take your other hand to your belly. Okay, press your feet up. Point your toes and just feel yourself standing. Imagine you could inhale from the earth, taking that stability, that light up into your body, filling your whole body with light to the top of your head. And then as you exhale, breathing through your head, down your whole body, pressing the breath out through your feet, grounding your fear or your stress. Inhaling, that light of your inner knowing and trust comes all the way up your body until your body feels like it's glowing. And then exhaling, head, through shoulders, through hips, through legs, out through your feet, pushing that inner pollution out into the ground. One more time. Filling yourself with light, releasing that inner darkness. Pivot your feet back to the front of your yoga mat. You keep going to the front. I just keep changing so you can see me. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up towards the sky. This is going to be our last standing pose, I think. Actually, I think we have one more. Come on up. Pivot your feet from the left to the right. Turn the toes out slightly. Bend your knees, hands on your knees. This is one of my favorite things to do. So there's a goddess, Kali, and Kali is like one of the goddesses that helps destruct the things that keep us stuck. So for fear, it could be like some fear of the birth or something like that, financial fear. So we're going to bring our hands together as if we had a sword and take our hands up. And then as you exhale, cut our sword down. And visualize that which you're cutting away. Fear of the unknown, like specific things. Stand, release your hands, close your eyes and breathe. Take one hand to your heart and one hand on your belly. Connect with your baby, connect with your heart. When I was pregnant, I had so many fears about how birth would go. I had a birth plan. I wanted all of these things to be very particular. Both of my pregnancies ended with emergency C-sections, and once I saw my baby, I realized that just getting my baby out into my arms was the most important thing. So even if things don't go as you think they will, that you want them to, know that when you have your baby in your arms, it will be perfect. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is at a wall. I don't have very good wall space here, and I don't dare mess with the camera, so I'm gonna try to explain it. My kid's little tub of toys. We're gonna take a block and we're gonna do Ardha Chandrasana at the wall. So I'm gonna be placing my block down on the floor in front of my shoulder. And then I'm gonna lift up my right foot's down, my left leg's coming up. What's great about the wall is you can turn back. So now my back is leaning against the wall, my head's on the wall, my heel's on the wall. And draw into that strength and press out through your legs, your head, and stretch your arm out. This is my second favorite pose. So I'm going to do the pose closer to you without the wall so you can see it. Right foot is down, block comes down, hand in front of the shoulder, and then you're going to be leaning against the wall. So the left hip is externally opening. I want to make sure that your right knee isn't hyperextending. Keep a little bend in it. And then come on up. Second side, turn to your left. Put your left block on the wall, forward of your foot. Open your right hip. Feel the wall behind you. In yoga philosophy, we'll talk about how the back of the body is connected to the universal. So leaning into like that trust of the universal, like feel the support that's there. Feel all of the people in your life that are supporting you. Just lean into it. Press out through the legs. And come on out. Okay, really nice. The next thing we're going to do is dance. So dancing is a great way of releasing some stress, some tension, getting mobility in the hips. This can be great when you're in labor, just like lessen the stress hormone and let your body become more fluid and let your baby start to descend deeper in preparation for birth. So you can like bend your knees and roll your hips. You could do figure eights. It's a little bit more complicated, but once you get it, it can be fun. You can just like twist and shout, and however you like to dance. We're just gonna do this for like 2 more minutes. Just dance, 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 and dance, and dance. You know, you might feel silly dancing alone, but you are not alone. Because you're dancing with your baby. So you can like hold your baby. It's like such a beautiful thing. I used to do full moon dances. And I'd go and like being pregnant with them was just the best. Because I just had this like companion with me the whole time. Okay, we're about to stop. Okay. We're going to end with Supta Baddha Konasana again. Or not Supta, Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together. You can sit up on your blanket again. Just pressing those feet together. I'm going to hold under my knees this time. Again, I'm not pressing my knees down. I'm supporting them so that I can lift my chest. Another side stretch to the right. And a gentle twist, left hand to the foot, right hand behind your back, sitting up nice and tall. Second side twisting, or side stretch to the left. Little twist to the left. Nice, open your legs. Hands behind your back, sit up tall, so this might be enough for you. If it feels good, you can tip forward. You can take your elbows to the block, still trying to lengthen through your spine. I like to go elbows to the block and then rest my forehead on my hands. Come on back up and we'll get ready for Shavasana. So I like to take my blanket, fold it like a pillow, and then take 2 of my blocks and place them on the, what side of my mat is this? I don't know. The far side of my mat. So I'm going to be laying on my left side. This is also good if you have a bolster. You could use a bolster instead of a block. Pregnancy is so uncomfortable, but some of the times I was most comfortable comfortable would be at the end of a yoga practice. So I hope this is relaxing for you. I'm gonna lay down on my left side. I'm gonna bring my left arm under my pillow, like this, for my head, and I'm gonna take my right knee up. So there should be plenty of room for your belly. You can take your right hand and put it on your belly or another place that's more comfortable for you. Just take this little Shavasana as a time for you to rest. Once your baby is here, it becomes much harder to find moments to rest. If you still have any tension or stress, imagine it can just be breathed away with your exhales. If you have time to stay in Shavasana, keep resting. If you need to end, start to make your way back up to a comfortable seated posture, using your hands to press yourself up. And one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Feel the connection you have with your baby. Bow your head towards yourself. Thank yourself for practicing, for taking some time for you, for reminding yourself of your inner strength and your deep inner knowing. I hope you have a beautiful day and motherhood journey. Namaste.